Hello and welcome to our actual play of Curse of Strahd as presented by For the Love of Crits. I'm level 1 Dungeon Master Hunter Rayu, and thank you again for joining us as we follow our lost clerics of Barovia deeper into the mist. Curse of Strahd, created by Wizards of the Coast, is known for its dark themes and mature content. Therefore, viewer discretion is advised due to adult language and themes. Please keep the chat civil and avoid spoilers for this Wizards of the Coast adventure as well as any others. One of our players is going to enact a recollection to catch us up with our cluster of clerics, and please don't forget, for the love of crits, like, comment, and subscribe.
Graves wipes sap from his daggers as the party continues the trek down the shadowy Barovian roads after their encounter with the tree needle thingy things. I don't remember their name.
Needle blights.
Needle blights. Well, those creatures weren't so tough after all, I suppose. Nothing these blades could not handle. Scowls as he looks down at the unlit lantern on his side. Have you truly abandoned me, Lady Pharasma? Did you ever care for me in the first place? Was I no more than a tool? Or was I even that? Perhaps I am no more than an undead abomination in your eyes. He then thumbs the ornate key around his neck. But you say I am wasting my potential. But what potential are you speaking of? And what am I wasting it on? Strange spectre, did you mean that my apparent devotion to Pharasma was a waste? My skills, time, my friends, or my goals here in Barovia? What potential do you speak of? Of course, I still don't know my own past, and perhaps that is where the answer lies. Finally, someone has given me some tangible clue. The Burgomaster of Barovia's line. It seems I resemble that lineage. And I have a vague recollection that a member of that family disappeared some years ago. But that village is a squalor. What potential does it even have? It lacks even the basic safety found in a backwards place like Vallaki. Safety. I delude myself. Vallaki may not have the threat of walking trees or direwolves, but it has many other dangers. And even then, Strahd could choose to attack any time he wished. Oh, Lady Voctor, for all the darkness seething through your teeth, you were right about that, I presume. Strahd simply has no interest in Vallaki, and because of that, the true dangers found within are the people inside who harbor dark intentions. The Baron, for certain, that much is plain. But make no mistake, Graves looks up through the canopy of trees to the gray sky. I am on to your games, Lady Voctor. That note I sent you was a gamble, for sure, but I do believe it was likely you who killed Temu. And while I will help you get rid of Volkovich, I have no intention of letting you rule that miserable town either. Graves kind of then looks over to his companions. I have no reservations about doing what must be done, even if my companions disagree.
So when we last left our cluster of clerics, they were on the tail end of an almost battle. Let me pull up the most recent and pull you guys over.
Oh, look, it's what's his name? Forget his name. The owl. Bartholomew.
I did have a question. What was the spell that you used to summon Bartholomew, like the actual mechanic?
Find familiar?
Find familiar?
Find familiar? one thing that I keep forgetting about is rules is written with Curse of Strahd. Certain spells are actually they're viewed differently. Now this was one I forgot about, and I know that you kind of created a specific familiar with it, so I'm not going to apply it in this case. But I am going to, in our Discord, share in the handouts a list of those spells that will look different because there's enough of them, I can't remember all of them. I know
That is cool.
traditionally in Curse of Strahd, any familiar is undead. And it appears to be undead. However, it is immune to turn undead. It does have that as a caveat on there.
Interesting.
So
We
I
just turn all
will
our familiars.
I will at some point provide that for you guys because there's enough different spells that's just too much for me to remember for every instance that a spell is cast, especially with 4 spellcasters.
It makes
That
sense,
is pretty cool, though.
too, that this would be a little bit exempt because I made it out of copper. It's not like an actual...
For sure.
Yeah,
And
it's a reflavoring.
well, you reflavored it to the point that you guys all as DMs, and me playing with you guys for years at this point, I trust all of you guys to follow the rules and play within the game. And all of you guys enjoy playing by the rules because you know if we're all in the same rules, then it's kind of the best for everyone. So I'll be honest, I didn't even question what mechanic you used to create the thing, and it wasn't until I was like doing some prep today that I'm like, oh yeah, some of the spells look different. And then I was like, wait, was that Find Familiar? Like, was that the spell that he used? So I did want to mention that when I thought of Rovia. So to give you an example of some of the things, the Find Familiar, of course, is the familiar is undead rather than celestial, fey, or fiend. Find the Path spell, rather than the typical thing, a child spirit appears and guides the caster to the desired location.
That was cool. That was cool.
A gust of wind, a ghostly moan accompanies the summoned wind. Things like that it doesn't really change anything mechanically. It's all flavor. And I really don't want to miss out on those things because the creators of the campaign added those things in to add to the aesthetic of Curse of Strahd. And it really adds to it.
There's just so many to remember.
There are like even Big B's hand, it's a skeletal hand instead of a regular hand.
Yeah.
Find Steed is undead, same exact thing as the Find Familiar.
You get a good old Arvok or whatever his name is, the one from Skyrim.
Phantom Steed resembles a skeletal horse rather than a traditional horse.
Yeah.
It's a lot of cool things. I will share it in the Discord, so that we have it in our handouts. Would one of you guys be able to like note it so that after the session I can add that into the Discord?
Sure.
Yep.
Thanks. And if you could help remind me.
Yep.
So
a lot of us are also ones that often flavor our attacks and abilities as well too, which is nice.
Yeah. So and that will give you some guidance that's like, hey, like you might be. It's one of those things. All of you, pretty much with the exception of Graves, have probably been casting many of these spells for years, or have seen other people cast these spells. So when you go to use it and all of a sudden it's different, it's going to be very noticeable to your character.
Yeah.
That you're like, oh, that isn't the way it's supposed to be, and it just kind of further cements how different this plane is.
Yeah, Graves would probably be, say, oblivious because he's newer to all this. And second, his god lives in a place called the Boneyard, is the Lady of Graves and stuff, so I could see a lot of the Pharasma spells having similar flavor anyway. Not the being undead, that one no, but like things looking skeletal or just being creepy. That just fits anyway.
Okay, so also I discovered something with Tailspire while I was prepping for this session. So initially, I said like, oh well, the compass doesn't completely match up with what it actually is supposed to be. You are able to change the direction of the compass in the game. So I am able to set north to be a different direction for you guys.
I just saw it
So
move.
Nice.
yeah, so I will be in the future. My north, south, east, west should completely match up, which will make it a bit easier for you guys. That being said, for this location, which was the crossroads here, you guys had 4 locations.
Yeah.
You had, going to the northwest, you had the signpost was pointing to Lake Baratok to the northwest. Back the way you came to the north and east was Valaki and Castle Ravenloft. To the south was the new location, the southeast, I should say, was the new location of Berez, which you have not heard anyone mention to this point. And then the down to the south and west is Kresk and Solenka Pass. You guys are currently on your way to the Wizard of Wines, which you have been told is along your route to Kresk, up to this point.
So probably that way. Also, can I roll for my luck points?
Yes, you can. Thank you
I
for
just suddenly
reminding me.
remembered that. I was like, I want them luck points. One.
You
Yeah.
take your 1 luck point and
Hey,
get out.
I have 22 already, so I'm gonna take it.
Okay. So, you guys have just killed a large amount of needle blights. I believe there were 10 needle blights that you had just killed. Also, since doing the last session, I did find that I did have a token for the needle blights. I just wasn't finding it because it was listed under plants. So, to give you guys an idea of what the needle blights actually should look like.
Ah, they're like actual guys.
Yes. So, these are more what the needle blights would have looked like. What I used last time was closer to what is called a twig blight. So I will remove that, but so you guys know, yes, they are going to be the same creatures if you see those ones later on.
Cool.
Gotcha.
Foreshadowing.
And we are in the woods.
We're gonna
You
get to
are-
the Wizard of Wines, and it's just like 50 of them.
It is a common meme when it's like, oh, where are we? It's like, oh, you're in the Svalich woods. And it's like, that does not narrow it down at all. When you first entered Barovia, the woods surrounding Death House are also considered the Svalich woods. And you are
Basically,
also
it's like-
now in the Svalich woods. So
It's basically like you aren't at a specific location, you're in the Svalich Woods.
yes. So, all that being said, you guys have killed the needle blights. There's still the large wolf nearby on the ground. Is there anything you guys do before you move on? You are only about an hour or 2 into your actual journey.
Graves thinks to himself as he does the recollection from earlier.
I guess Herbert would probably just poke around to make sure nothing out of the ordinary is happening here. I guess it seems like the wolves had some sort of altercation with the needle blight potentially, and the wolf was killed. My initial, yeah. So he'll just survey the scene to make sure there's no other weird things, like not as it appears sort of situation.
Okay.
But yeah.
So, so you guys know, you would have seen the direction that they were traveling was to. This isn't a good map for it. They should have been traveling to the south and the west, traveling towards Kresk and Solenka Pass.
The way that we are probably going.
Which means they came from Lake Baratok, right?
Yes, they would have come from.
Excuse me.
Yes, they would have come from the north, Lake Baratok.
Nice.
So they didn't come from where we're going.
Correct. Or let me double check my notes really quick. I want to make sure I'm giving you guys correct info.
You're the
Actually,
DM.
they would have come from the southeast.
Which is
So-
which sign is that one?
Berez.
Berez, the place that we have no fucking clue what it is.
Correct.
It's just a needle blade town. That's all it is. The town of needle blades.
It happens.
That's the most information we have. Bunch of needle blades came from there. It's a perfectly reasonable assumption.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
of course. Like, just
Gray's
what
only been
happens,
around for
needle
2
blades.
months. He doesn't know needle blades aren't regular people.
It's true.
Gareth would like to try to pick up on any unique scent that comes from the needle bites, so that he can focus on that
yeah.
way forward.
Roll me a perception check at advantage.
Should have known my skill before I asked that. 3. There's 1.
Well,
Yo. Ooh.
That first one was
So
good.
22 total.
Nice.
Okay. As you smell, you would smell on the wood a scent of mildewy water, almost like what you would expect from a swamp.
Okay. So he's just gonna kind of keep a nostril out for that moving forward.
Sounds good. So let me get up this. So, do you guys do anything before you travel down the southwest path?
So I don't think Grace did anything to do unless anyone looks incredibly injured. But if not, he's gonna, as we were saying before session, gonna reserve some of his spell slots in case we get attacked again. But if someone's incredibly injured looking, he'd probably give him a little heal.
Okay.
I don't think anyone
everyone's
was
good.
too
Everyone
bad.
got 10 hit points too.
Exactly.
So
yeah, I'm good.
I think spell
Okay.
slots are probably better served in a fight if we run into one than healing. Canerp's just jumping into the sky.
There we go. Let me pull up the. Here. Okay. So, we're going to kind of theater of the mind the travel as we're going along. So I'm bringing
As
you
one
guys
does.
over to one of our loading screens here.
Yes, the OG camp.
Yeah, so now that Tailspire has the option to make folders, it makes it much easier for me to use multiple maps in a session. So for sure, useful. I have Onyx, and I'm missing Kunerth. There we go. So, as we are going along, so you guys are traveling along the road. It's a pretty standard road as you are going along. Looks like this is probably the most traveled road between Valaki and Kresk as you're going.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
The area surrounded it is kind of weather worn. Obviously, there isn't any type of logistical structure around to kind of keep the woods at bay, other than people just walking along here. Majority of the pathways have grass growing up the middle of them, and you get the sense that it's majority of wagons that travel through this area. So until the next kind of major landmark, there's about a 2-hour window as you're going along. And other than following the road, there's not really too much going on. Mirabelle would still be with your party, as you're traveling along. Is there any conversations that happen along this trek as you are going?
I may ask Konerith if his key has talked to him again. Yeah. Hey, Konerith, I know you mentioned your key talks to you. Does it talk to you again?
Yes, it's not so much infrequent. I can communicate with it when need be.
Oh. You see Onyx kind of like fall to the back of the group, just kind of like, oh well, mine doesn't.
Good. Speaking of that, how do you tend to go about speaking with your key? I did hear a spirit or entity, whatever it is, behind my key once. And since I've often, when I'm doing my prayers or just my general thinking, I've like looked at the key or like in my own brain, like went over some of the events, but I've yet to ever hear from it again or anything. I mean, I haven't really actively tried. Do you just like actively try, or does it just come to you? Or
Quick side note for that, actually, Reno. How do you want to run that? Like, the way I've been picturing it is that essentially where it embodies my shadow, that it's essentially kind of replaced my shadow, and I just kind of like will talk to it on occasion. So I just kind of assumed that it was a consistent presence rather than something that I have to call upon as much now.
You would be correct in that. Kind of think of Peter Pan's shadow, where it's connected to him, it's always there, and you don't have a normal shadow anymore.
Yeah.
So, your shadow obviously acts in different ways from you. You would have noticed that it's a bit more cantankerous than you're probably used to. That it's more willing to kind of be like aggressive mannerisms, things like that, than you would have.
Almost like taking a more aggressive stance at times that doesn't reflect the way that I'm standing, because like Koneris kind of typically kind of slumped over, very doesn't really stand out. That's kind of been his whole thing. So
yeah,
but
and look at his new trip artwork. Very much shows that. He's just like, I hate everything. I loved it. Anyway.
Well, I don't know, because I would assume the spirits or beings that inhabit each of our keys are different.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't had any
Seems-
trouble communicating with the Shade. If anything, it's a consistent presence at this point.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Did you like before it became a consistent presence then? Because I believe it wasn't here before you had the key. Did you like actively reach out to it a few times or anything? So I mean, I suppose I haven't really tried to do anything with my key. I more so just was curious how it kind of started with you and such. As I don't know, my magic and connection to Lady Pharasma seems to be dwindling, but I have been able to rely on my daggers at least. But I want to know of different avenues, so I was curious.
I've found the more faith that I've put in it, and the more I've been willing to rely on it. I don't mean faith in the religious sense, as we're all clerics, but more just trusting it and relying on its power, the stronger my connection to it has become. And that's why I was curious if any of the three of you had noticed the connection at all to begin with, or if you had its strength increasing, because I was curious to, I guess, know what you thought about it. It doesn't seem like a malicious force to me, and at this point, even if it was, it's hard to turn down additional help.
Yeah.
As you guys are talking, I need one of you guys to roll me a d12 and a d8.
Each or like
One of you to roll. One of you can roll a d12 and one can roll a d8, but I need to have one of each of those die rolled.
I can do a 12 if you want.
I can do an 8. I'll do the 8.
12.
Ooh.
Oh boy. Wait.
A 12 and an 8.
Okay.
Max number.
So you guys got a 20.
So 20,
needle blights.
Not
Yeah.
maybe not needle blights,
Or
but
it's 12 dire wolves and 8 needle blights.
werewolves.
You guys suddenly hear a clanking behind you off to the left. You walked past it, you didn't notice it. Off to the left of the road. You hadn't noticed it. As you turn around, you see a figure walks alone with a stride and bearing of one who knows no fear. Clad in rusty armor, it clutches a gleaming longsword in its pale hand and looks ready to fight. Roll initiative.
Oh, okay, right into it.
Alrighty.
What? Come get
Speaking
the
of
Hey,
relying
that's
on
pretty
your
decent.
Spectre, here you go, Graves.
Say, Graves heard from it once. And then he's like half mused about it to himself, but he hasn't like fully tried to like reach out to it. He's more just been seeing if it would contact him again on its own volition, but we'll see what happens. I got 18 on mine for initiative. I have a +2.
Let me add in. This will work well.
Getting right into a fight. I love it. I love it. I like me some good combat.
You guys haven't been traveling enough for me to do the
Random encounters.
random encounters, and you guys like crit on it. So I was like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing.
That's crazy.
I mean, let's wait for us all to die. So, I mean, normally on like from my experience, a lot of random encounter tapers, the higher you get, the more dangerous the things are.
It's usually one or the other, or both.
Yep. So,
Bear with me.
We'll see.
I'm reading up to make sure that I'm understanding this thing correctly.
always a good plan to even if I've read over a stat block repeatedly, I will go over it again very quickly as I start to use it in an encounter, because I'm like, I want to make sure I'm using this right.
The worst part is I got confused with the campaigns that I'm in, and I thought this was something we had faced before, because all I was thinking was the massive thing in our Saturday night campaign that just wanted to fight to see if others were worthy.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And I somehow managed to do like 106 damage to it with one hit.
Yeah.
Frig. Oh
And it's
man.
like, you are worthy, and it just like left.
Yeah, it just left. He's like,
Yeah.
good enough. You drew blood. I'm like, okay.
The last encounter on the road, one of my campaigns that are on this Gothic horror campaign, they fought a phase spider in a bog, where like it took their whole movement to move like one square, and this thing can ethereal jaunt in and out on the same turn and attacks, and it's poisons, which lasts for 8 rounds. You need 2 saves to beat it. DC 18 or 1d2 Constitution damage.
Ooh.
My wife's character finished the saves at 1 con. If you hit 0, you die. And 2 of the others were also like very close.
Ooh.
It was good, but I forgot that it did that until I brought it up and reread the stat block, and I was like, oh shit. Oh shit.
Okay.
Now let's see how much shit we're in.
So it's good to know what your monsters do beforehand. If I know I'm going to use creature, I'll look it up on like the monsters know what they're doing.
Yeah, I
Nice.
usually do too.
But I mean, it's
Yeah.
a random encounter.
In
so-
the
This one's a random
Pathfinder
encounter.
stat blocks, within like the adventures and such, it has like their basic strategy. So it's like during combat, the creature does this, which is useful. I also just hadn't realized until I was looking. I was like, oh wait, this is a bog. What does that do? Oh, this takes like basically through these squares, which is like half the map. It takes their entire movement to move that one square.
Oh no.
And the goblins gotta swim the entire
Okay.
time.
What was your guys's initiative?
18.
4.
7.
Also 7.
Okay. Herbert, you were a 4. Onyx, you were 18. Conareth and Graves, you were a 7.
Wrong.
Grace was 18.
Graves was 18. Onyx was the
a
7.
Yeah.
I have
who is-
0 dexterity modifier.
Do you have any dex, Onyx?
I have 1 modifier, so yeah, mine's at a 12.
And remember, doing the Baldur's Gate rules. If you guys are next to each other in initiative, you can go in any order.
I don't like this.
So, that being said, Graves, it is your turn to start off our start it off.
Shit. Well.
This looks like a guy that just walked up on us with a rusty weapon.
Oh yeah, he now to clarify, you see him and you're like, oh, this guy is not alive.
Okay.
You would assume that
Very
he is. He looks very much like a zombie. For there. Let's see. You guys are.
Walking with
Can
purpose.
you guys all roll me a DC, a Wisdom insight check?
Yep.
Oh.
19 plus things. Insight, you said?
Yeah, actually, can you guys roll when you're not? Okay, cool.
All right. That's a 24 for Graves.
I got a 19.
Okay, Onyx and Canara.
14.
Whew.
Yo!
Okay.
25.
So everyone succeeds. So as you look at this creature, you can see, quote, intelligence and hate in its sunken eyes.
I only like one of those things.
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, Graves, it is your turn. So you know this thing is
Shit.
undead, intelligent, and coming for you. And hateful.
Shit. Right off the bat. Held actions are a thing in 5e too, right?
Yep.
They are, yeah.
Can I selfishly hold an action to try and make good use of an ability?
You can, yeah, like it's D&D, man. You can do what you want.
I would like to hold an action until the end of Herbert's turn.
Okay, so at the end of Herbert's turn, what would you like the action to do?
I would like to use my channel divinity.
Okay. Which
Do
channel
Path-
divinity?
Path of the Grave, or Path to the Grave,
Okay.
so that I can make it vulnerable to my sneak attack on the next round. Because that's
Okay.
going to be one of our big damage dealers, so I would love to be able to get double damage on that, basically.
I will allow it. How long does it last for?
Till the next time it takes damage, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, it just takes
That
double
makes
damage
sense.
from whatever.
Yeah, I basically just want to use it on my attack, because I'm
I will
selfish
allow
like that.
Yeah, I
And it's
will
a
allow
standard
that.
action. All right, so I
You
will.
pretty much gotta like step back and you're like prepped for it, and so you're pretty much going to cast it and then
Yeah.
jump into
Graves
action.
basically just draws his dagger and then just like looks and waits for the others to all react so that he can then pop it and then rush in himself once everyone else is engaged as well.
Okay.
Waiting for the right moment to strike. Yeah. Boom. Onyx.
Well, what I was gonna do, I realized I couldn't do. So I'm just gonna hit it with a guiding bolt, or at least attempt to.
Okay.
That's only a 14 to hit.
14 to hit.
Yep.
It hits.
Oh, sweet.
Okay.
11 points
Oh.
of damage.
11
What kind of
points.
armor is this guy wearing?
So he appears to be wearing rusted chainmail with leather underneath.
Radiant damage, by the way.
Radiant damage?
Yep.
Perfect, thank you.
And he is now glittering. Mystical dim light glittering on the target, making the next attack roll
Have advantage.
have advantage.
Nice.
Okay,
Very nice.
sounds good.
Pretty
Is that the
significant.
end of your turn, Onyx?
I'm gonna. I don't like this guy, so I am going to bonus action and use my second wind
Ooh, okay.
because I need
Pulling
some
out the
help.
fighter.
Yeah.
Yep.
So 1d10 plus 1. All right,
Nice.
10.
Nice.
That's pretty good,
nice.
Chi.
I'll take that. All right, I'm feeling a lot better.
Okay. Onyx, as the end of your turn, I'm thinking?
That is.
Hey, Kernarth, it's your turn
We
with
cannot
the
move our.
enemy.
Oh, okay, that's why.
You
is it-
can't?
It's still showing Graves' turn on my screen.
Oh,
Oh.
let me...
I hit next turn.
There we go. Ah, now I can move.
Maybe it's like seems to be whenever like we end our own turns, it doesn't move for everybody else.
Yeah,
I think it might be what it is.
I don't know what it is. It could be an interaction with one of the mods.
Yeah.
I
I'm
do
gonna-
like
well-
having the turn order at the top. So.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, most certainly.
Absolutely.
I will step near these guys, so I'm within 5 feet of both Panareth and Graves,
Okay.
and that's my turn.
Kernarth, it is your turn.
Quick clarifying question. Twilight Repose is classified as a bonus action.
Okay.
Casting Spiritual Weapon is a bonus action.
Mhm.
I know you can't do 2 bonus actions, but part of Twilight Repose is it automatically can tag on to an attack from Spiritual Weapon. So could
That
I
is
cast
correct.
Spiritual Weapon as a bonus action, which it gets to attack, and then have Twilight Repose tag on to that? Because it's technically tied to the Spiritual Weapon attack rather than... Like, I would assume if I cast it, it's a bonus action, but I could tag it on to Spiritual Weapon.
Let me double check because that was part of your the key, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so that is not a rules as written thing. So let me pull it up really quick. Okay.
Yeah, it's wrote can be used in the same action. So, to me, that sounds like it's counted under the same action. So
Yeah.
it wouldn't be 2 separate bonus actions. It would be the same action. Just 2
Alright,
things
so
happen.
Shadow Engulfs the enemy, striking at their mind, attempting to weaken them. You cast this spell, you can make a melee spell attack against target within range. So if you cast Spiritual Weapon, you're able to strike with it, correct?
Yeah.
Like in the
Yes.
same turn?
Mhm.
So the way that I worded this and the way I intended it, if Spiritual Weapon strikes, this ability can be used in the same action, adding its full damage and effects to Spiritual Weapon strike, without needing a separate attack roll. So yes, it would work at the same time. Now it does have a 10-foot range per player level. It's equal to your Mind Link.
Yeah. That's alright.
This is one that you haven't used yet. Is that correct?
I've used it a couple times, but I haven't used it much. So I need to be within 40 feet. I am within 40 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, sweet. Alright, so bonus action, gonna cast Spiritual Weapon.
Bam, bam, bam. Smackaroo. With advantage on your attack roll. Because good old Onyx, being a team player, unlike me.
So
Bonk.
Okay, roll me an attack.
Just a bonk.
Bonka bonk.
Oh yeah.
oh, don't even need advantage unless I crit.
That
Nice.
that is gonna hit. So,
So, and I'm adding Twilight Repose. So you guys see Konerith cast Spiritual Weapon. A Warhammer appears, which basically looks exactly like his. He's not super imaginative. And just like appears and slams against the Revenant. At the same time that happens, his shadow, which he was just talking about with Graves, flies out from underneath his feet and goes over and wraps itself around the Revenant from behind, choking it.
Nice. Little Shikamaru action going on.
as you are you kind of like reaching your arm out when you do this?
Yeah,
Which arm?
left.
His third arm.
Left. Oh, you would feel right in like the crook of your elbow. You would feel kind of like an icy feel, and it would kind of emanate up your arm as you cast this spell.
Nice.
His arms are turning more purple.
Yeah, and it would feel like you dunked your arm in ice water, but only from like a crook of your elbow up. Is that the end of your turn? And also, how much damage does that deal?
Yeah, I gotta roll for that.
Damage is a thing that we like to see.
Are you
I
When
hate
we're
it.
dealing it.
Are you growing horns? Are you turning into a tiefling?
No.
So that's 3 for that, and then it has to do a Constitution saving throw.
Constitution saving throw. Okay.
Unless it's already immune to being put to sleep.
Um.
Our undead immune being slept.
A lot of them are, I think.
Yeah,
Huh?
but you'd be
I'm not
surprised what some creatures are missing immunities to.
Right?
It,
Yeah.
I've not seen it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
There we go.
22.
Yeah, what's my spell save DC? I'm assuming it's not that high.
Yeah.
23,
If it is.
actually.
If it is, I'm gonna be really surprised and concerned.
And then, sorry, I haven't used this very much, so I'm just making sure I'm doing this right.
Mhm.
Yeah, Caneric's actually a Pathfinder character. That's why his numbers are so high.
Okay, 1d8.
Yeah, Anthony, you don't remember sending us all the text that we leveled up 6 times since
Yeah.
the last session?
Exactly.
Alright, 12 damage total.
12 damage.
With 8 of that being psychic,
Okay.
if that makes a difference.
What was the other? Just bludgeoning?
Spiritual
Yeah,
weapon is
yeah, bludgeoning.
for a spiritual weapon, I assume, which is
You said
force
8 of it
damage.
was psychic,
Yeah, 8 of it was psychic.
and the rest was bludgeoning.
Or what were you saying, Garen? Is
If it's a spiritual
Force
weapon, it's force damage.
Force. Okay.
Right.
So, you would see it get completely hit, but it would be very unaffected by like it doesn't seem to clutch its head or anything, as you normally would see if someone took psychic damage.
and that was just my bonus action.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. I thought spiritual weapon was the initial cast was an action, and then it was a bonus action after
Nope.
that.
No
Okay.
bonus action.
Dang, it's
It's-
a busted.
Yeah, it's busted, man. It's a good spell. But see, if like we all pop it, then there's just like a bunch of floating weapons smacking this thing on all of our bonus actions.
Alright, so you run up to it.
And yeah, just do a regular attack.
Yeah. Also, I want to say I miscalculated the con save. It was 25, not 22.
Ooh.
So I want to let you know
Oh,
in case it
darn.
comes up again and you're like, oh, he's changing the numbers. No, I read it wrong the first time. But
Is it just the next attack or subsequent attacks until the next turn?
Just the next attack.
Just the next attack, okay. Still got 21 to hit.
They're popping off.
21 to hit.
Yep.
That hits.
I was gonna be really scared if you said it didn't. Ooh, there we go.
Yeah.
And 11 damage. Bludgeoning.
Okay.
Alright, and then I'm done. I'm out of the way.
How much bludgeoning? Sorry.
11. That's what it said.
Okay. So, it is now to this creature's turn. It is going to look at you, K'Nereth, and its eyes narrow as it glares at you. And I need you to make a wisdom saving throw.
Ooh. Wisdom save. Fortunately, I have advantage on wisdom saves.
Fortunately, for sure.
Yep.
So 18.
Okay, you succeed. Let me double check. I'm just double checking. Okay, nothing happens different. Like nothing.
It's not like a half
Like-
success or
Yeah, it's not like
Yeah.
a half or
That's
immunity
saber
or
side.
anything like that. So, it is going to it's going to bring its left hand and kind of do a backhanded fist right at your face.
Bob and weave.
That
Nice.
is a 13 to hit.
Alright, that misses.
Okay. And then it immediately brings its right hand down with its sword in there. And it's actually going to, rather than striking with the sword, it's bringing its fist down upon your head.
Bob and
Just
weave.
waylay me.
Haha.
And that is a
Getting very lucky.
11 to hit. Which is not, let's see, which is, I think that is actually going to be the end of its turn. Herbert, it is your turn.
Huh.
Quick,
Well.
for clarification, were we stopped up to take a rest, or is this was just kind of an intermediary? Like we
This
we're
was just an
talking along the road.
intermediary. You guys were on the road traveling.
Yep.
Well, Herbert is going to call to Bartholomew and go with me, and sort of command him to go forward and distract this creature as I yank on my gauntlets and try to deliver a shocking grasp. Okay.
Okay.
So with the help action from Bartholomew, that gives me advantage, which I will probably need for a 16 to hit.
16 hits.
All right. And this is the D10 of damage. So 9.
16
Nice.
hits, so it doesn't have a very high armor class.
A
Think-
14 hit.
Yeah.
Yes, I think 14 hits, so.
14,
You
yeah,
said
14.
9 for damage?
9 lightning
and-
damage.
Lightning damage, okay.
And now you
Isn't it
can't
wearing
take
some metal
reaction.
armor too?
Oh yeah, it's got metal armor too. Another reason. Oh yeah. was gonna
Does
say, I have
I don't
advantage.
remember the shocking grasp.
It does it. You have advantage on
Oh, that
attacks
makes sense
against
because you pretty much just have to touch
Yeah.
him.
touch
You
them anywhere.
didn't even need Bartholomew's help.
Yeah, I was thinking about that earlier, and then I totally forgot, and I was like, Bartholomew, help.
He's just there for flavor.
Yeah.
He still helps you. You just didn't mechanically need it.
Yep. Yeah. No, I'm gonna back up a little bit here actually, because I think I've got about 10 more feet of movement.
Okay.
He can't take reactions until
Nice.
Oh, okay,
or-
yeah.
Until his turn?
The start of its next turn.
Nice. That means I can back away too.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that will end my turn.
Cheering at the end of that, suddenly Graves' eyes just suddenly glow for a split second. As also on the chest of this creature, suddenly just this skull symbol appears. As I do path to the grave on it. And then it's my turn. And Graves starts rushing forward with his dagger. He's like, potential, eh? Well, perhaps it is wasted. But let's see if we can pour all the potential into this shot. As he rushes up and brings his dagger and tries to stab directly into the spot with the skull, as he in the other hand pulls the key off his neck and holds it in the other hand and then jabs forward.
Ooh, roll me a religion check.
Ooh.
Is there
What's my
any way
bonus?
that Bartholomew can provide advantage to this moment instead?
Ooh.
I mean, I didn't need it. So, we'll just say he hung around.
I'd take it if I can have it, but I can see if you say no too.
Let me.
This
Okay,
is my
I'll leave
check.
it up to chance for you guys. If I
20
roll above a 70, I will allow advantage.
Nice.
Nope.
Okay,
Nope.
no advantage.
It's a 21 on my religion check, though.
21 on your religion check.
Yes.
Okay. So, as you are running, you got a 21, is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. Roll your damage, roll your attack and everything. I will allow advantage on
Nice.
that with the 21 on religion check.
All right, so 13 or a 1. Okay. So that is still a 17 to hit.
That hits.
With advantage and people are within range, so I get my sneak attack.
So, roll me your
what happened?
damage.
Okay, 3 on the D4. 6 on the D6 for sneak, so that's 9 plus 2 for my dex is 11, and he's vulnerable to it, so it becomes 22 damage.
Oh my.
Okay. So 22 damage. As your blade passes through him, you were stabbing at the chest, correct?
Yeah, it kind of flavored like a little symbol that represents the path to the grave hit, and he just hit directly on it. Picture soy phone from Bleach hitting the same spot.
I was thinking that, yeah.
Yeah, I'm rewatching Bleach.
Slashing? Or
he's just stabbing.
Stabbing?
Yes.
Okay. So as you stab into there, you feel the key in your other hand pulse suddenly, and you feel almost a ripple pass through your body. You know, like when you get that chill up your spine that causes your whole body to shift around when it happens. Yep. So that is what happens in your body, and it goes all the way down your hand as you're going into the blade itself. And where you stab in there, all of a sudden, the area around it begins to turn gray, even more gray than the dead than the dead flesh around it. It gives one glaring view at you before emanating from your blade. It reaches towards you and turns to stone in front of you. And that is the end
Yeah.
of that combat.
Oh, sheesh.
Okay.
Nice.
I don't
And
know
Onyx,
that spell.
Alrighty.
And Onyx.
Yeah, and Onyx.
what
And
was that
Onyx?
about?
He said and Onyx.
You said and Onyx and then nothing else.
Oh, I said and Onyx?
Yes!
Oh, I do not recall
We'll never know.
saying and Onyx. I'm sorry.
It's and
You
Onyx.
die. No. No. That's a new one. Nice move, I suppose. Was that a spell or?
Yes. Yes. Knew what I've been working on. As Graves kind of just thumbs the key down his sleeve, and puts his dagger away. Yes, what I've been working on, I fully expected that.
All right, you.
Yeah, sounded like you were
Do you
working on
want
the
me to
road
have
here.
to roll for that? Because you came up and tacked right next to me.
I feel like Coderf would not have to, because he heard me say something about potential. He probably saw me like holding like my hand out and like the chain that my key is on coming out of it, whatever.
Yeah,
The symbol, whatever.
Are you right-handed or left-handed? Or Graves is right?
Probably just right-handed.
Yeah, I mean it's possible I wouldn't have seen because you would have had your back to me, like full extension.
Yeah.
You would have had the key in this hand. It's possible I wouldn't have seen.
I feel it, especially since we were talking about that right when this happened. I feel like if Kanerif didn't even want to roll, he'd be like, no, yeah, that was something not with the key.
So, this undead creature, is sitting in front of you, its arm reaching out as if it's about to grasp someone's neck, to choke them. His mouth frozen in a snarl. And you can see that the visage doesn't hide any of the anger that has been gathered in there. Can everyone roll me an Arcana check?
Yep. Well, this is certainly a fitting addition to the scenery of Barovia.
I got a 20.
Okay.
I got a 6.
17.
16.
Okay. Herbert, can you also roll me an insight check?
Oh, great. +4 to this.
Nice.
19.
Okay. You would recognize what this creature was. And you would recognize it as a revenant.
Ooh. Nasty
Yeah.
creatures.
Alex probably knows what that means, so now Herbert does.
With the insight, you anticipate that this could be Victor.
Hmm.
Oh, that's Victor. Right.
Victor. Wow.
And
So he
Now-
doesn't look like Victor at all. He looks like a different. I assume looks like a different body.
Like, yeah, that doesn't look like
Correct.
Victor.
Now, I am going to do a quick read of what a revenant is, whether it be just so that everyone's on the same page of what it is, because I'm guessing Herbert would immediately tell the rest of the group. Is that correct?
100%, yeah.
And also for anyone that's reading, because this is a very lesser known creature within D&D, but it is in the monster manual, and it is considered the anti-murder hobo. creature. So good
That's a
to know
good
for
one.
DMs that it's a good one to have in your
It's a
back
cool one.
pocket. So it is.
'Cause, I mean, we murder hoboed once, and coming back.
So yeah, this is just a. Let me pull up the revenue.
To be fair, Victor deserved everything he got.
Absolutely.
He wasn't a shopkeeper who wouldn't give us a 50%.
No, absolutely.
discount.
Were we absolutely like brutal, leading towards evil, and how we dealt with it? Probably. Did he deserve it? Absolutely.
I find it funny that our initial encounter with him, he was supposed to be around for longer and probably be more of a problem. And we quickly found him and dispatched him, and then he shows up as a revenant. And with just a little over a turn, we get rid of him. All really good rolls. Like, it wasn't just like we got super good rolls.
Okay, so a revenant forms from the soul of a mortal who met a cruel or undeserving fate. It claws its way back into the world to seek revenge against the one who wronged it. The revenant reclaims its mortal body, or superficially resembles a zombie, or possesses another body. However, instead of lifeless eyes, a revenant's eyes burn with resolve and flare in the presence of its adversary. If the revenant's original body was destroyed or it's otherwise unavailable, the spirit of the revenant enters another humanoid corpse. Regardless of the body the revenant uses as a vessel, its adversary always recognizes the revenant for what it truly is.
Herbert was the one that activated the ritual too.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like it could call all of us the ones that killed it, but Herbert did activate the ritual, so it's fair that he recognized it.
A revenant has only 1 year to exact revenge, and this you would know because you rolled pretty high on your Arcana. When its adversary dies, or if the revenant fails to kill its adversary before its time runs out, it crumbles to dust and its soul fades into the afterlife. If its foe is too powerful for the revenant to destroy on its own, it seeks worthy allies to help fulfill its quest. No magic can hide a creature pursued by a revenant, which always knows the direction and distance between it and the target of its vengeance. In cases where the revenant seeks revenge against more than one adversary, it pursues them one at a time, starting with the creature that dealt the killing blow. If the revenant's body is destroyed, its soul flies forth to seek out a new corpse in which to resume the hunt.
There's corpses all over Barovia.
Yeah.
Just so
we'll be
clear.
seeing him again.
We could be seeing him in like in an hour.
I normally will not do a full read of a creature like that, but in this particular case with Herbert, he probably would have heard of these creatures before, and they're just a really lesser known creature in D&D that I really want to be more common because they're
awesome.
Terrifying and they're really awesome.
And recurring villains.
It's like a nemesis that you create that will just keep coming after you.
Yes.
And recurring things. Great.
It was something that if we ever return to if we do return to Chronicles of the Erasmus Empire,
there are gonna be so many things after us.
Yeah, it's a creature I learned about after we were doing that campaign, and I'm like, how did I not know about this? But
there can literally be hundreds of revenants after that party.
Yeah, so it can become a problem for murder hobos. So definitely a good thing to keep in your back pocket as a DM.
And the Chronicles party is, we're kind of murder hobos.
Yeah.
Oh, we are, but we're
absolutely
so.
We intend to be because we're evil.
It was a criminal campaign, so.
Not every criminal kills everybody you see, though.
I think a bit more than just a criminal.
Zakan's been there for like 3-4 days, and we've killed dozens of people in that time, including in town. And he tracked you guys down beforehand, following hundreds of corpses in your wake. So
that's true. The poison was pretty potent.
Yeah, that was a big one.
That was brutal. I'm so proud of him.
We digress. Story for another time. That is where we are going to end tonight's session with the death of Victor for the second time.
Is he really dead? Because he was frozen in stone. So
yeah, actually, can the spirit move on, or is it petrified?
The world may never know.
We'll find out next time on right.
Well, thank you
Death of the
again
Cleric.
for
on Dragon
joining.
Ball Z.
Thank you again for joining our hubbub of clerics as we journey further into the mist with our lost clerics of Barovia. Please, for the love of crits, like, comment, and subscribe, and thanks for watching.